that's Divine Mother, and she transcends down into trillion aspect of her 332 million and much more than that. In this temple we have 11 aspects of Ganesha installed. Those are the very important aspects of Ganesha. As you know, Ganesha is the most popular deity because fundamentally for us to evolve, he is the most important. He gives us success, he gives us impediments in life so that we can learn to overcome that. So it's a part of experience of life. So you put some impediment, then he'll help us overcome that. And he's the sweetest and nicest and dearest of all the gods. And that's why he's represented. It's very symbolic, very deeply symbolic representation of Ganesha with the tusk and ear and belly. As you know, they don't have any form. All these gods we have here, they're all very symbolic, they're very meaningful, deeply meaningful, but they're symbolic. But they don't have human body, they don't have those organs, but we give them so that we can relate to them. That's the most important aspect of Hinduism. The rishis, Maharishis, they appreciated each aspect and they realized she has so many aspects. So they gave a form and a name and they felt her. The vibratory energy of each emotions of her is a devata. And here she has given us so many of them, and she's going to give a magnificent house of hers. She's planning it and she's constructing it, and we'll have one of the most magnificent temple because she wants many other aspects of her to be represented here. Since she's planning it, it'll be very, very effective because she knows what each one of us need. And today she comes as Ganesha, and Ganesha is the most beautiful aspect of her because of the fundamental nature of our upbringing, our raising of Kundalini. He's the most important for that. He sits in Muladhara. That's what makes us human. The minute Muladhara wakes up, we become human. Before that, we existed in many other life forms, and there were Kundalini centers below Muladhara. So he is a Lord for Muladhara. That's why he's so important. Why it's so important? She makes us, she starts the journey. He helps us to understand the journey. It's a formidable journey to break through the limitation of mind-body impediment, to go to higher level of understanding. That's why she has placed so many of them here so they can relate to us and make us understand them. So when we are ready to leave this human ascension, how many more lifetime we don't know, I don't know. After we finish as human, we'll go to that world, that is Devic world, and that has million ascension. That is why this place is full of Yakshinis, Mohinis, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, all the super sensuous aspects, because those are not sense-based organism. Because we are sense-based. We only feel the world through 5 senses. Beyond that, we don't understand it. But Ganesha, with his wisdom and waking up the Kundalini, will take us step by step to higher level, from Muladhara to Swadhisthana to Manipura to Anahata. This is the age of Anahata. This age of Aquarius is love. Fundamentally, it's the heart center, is the most active. Then comes Visuddha, then Ajna, then Sahasrara. Then we go to super sensuous world. We are destined. Our destiny is that. Otherwise, you won't be here, because she has given us everything needed for us to go above this level. She has invited us here. She has given us the wisdom. She has represented so many aspects, almost 600 of her aspect, important aspect, in a physical, in a visual form, so that we can understand. Even the water deity, it's very important. Next to Agni, water would be the most important. Agni we use for Homa, we used it today. We invoke Agni, we honor various things. Then we invoke Swaha Devi. Then we offer, that's what we did today. That water Abhishekam we did finally is the energized holy water, energized by those mantras, tantras, and yantra. All those 3 were involved. When I do the prayogam, we use all of them. And that is given to you. You may not know the yantras she has given. wonderful yantra, and you see that guru sitting there. He is Swarna Venkateshwara Diksha there. He has given that yantra and mantra and the detailed knowledge of what we need to do before we come here and do the homa. So even before that previous night, she has given all the information. It's a very mystical place. The rituals here are very mystical. It's difficult to understand, but you can. If you concentrate all the talks we give, you'll understand this place is not a normal place. It is designed by her, planned by her. She knows we do need to have tantra, mantra and yantra to go to that world. Otherwise we are stuck in this world, and there is a lot of travel in this world too, but ultimately we have to go beyond. For that wisdom, Ganesha is fundamental. He is needed. On this auspicious day, the fourth day, Chaturthi just ended, but the effect continues. And that day, to invoke him, to honor him, to receive the energy, it's the biggest boon. And doing it here, with her direction, with her invitation, the effect is 100-fold. So all of us are very blessed today to be able to do the homa today and use that water energized to do the abhishekam. Abhishekams are, next to homa, abhishekam are very important. To go to higher level of ascension, you need it, because with all our love, our reverence, our bhakti, our belief, we offer him. We give those are our emotions, the bhakti. And the priests do the mantras, our agents. And all are very meaningful. Every word they use in the abhishekam, they're very meaningful. Even if you don't understand the fact that you're here and on this day, with Ganesha's blessing, you will receive. And in this place, anyone who comes, they are destined to be here because of your love, your affection, your reverence for many, many lifetimes. Not one lifetime. One lifetime he cannot earn this. It takes many, many lifetimes. How many lifetimes? Like Krishna Bhagavan tells Arjuna, you had 840,000. 840,000, almost a million. That many lifetime I know you. You do not know because you don't remember, but I know you each time what you are. So as a part of Bhagavad Gita, he tells that information. So most of us probably had that many lifetimes, but we don't remember. Mahamaya covers it. And that is the right thing to do. If you know all of it, then there's no ascension. You have to come in with no knowledge and then develop. And bhakti is the most important. All the yogas, karma yoga, raja yoga, all the yogas are very important, and she will give us the knowledge. But ultimately you have to have bhakti, because that's what consumes her. That's what she says. I am here, I invited you, I give you the knowledge. In many forms I give you. As Ganesha, I give you the fundamental wisdom. But you come and consume me. So for divine to say that, it doesn't happen. Rarely it happens. Very few temple it will happen, where she invites, she plans all this. These are all prana pratishtha. This is not even a Raja Gopuram. It's Raja Sannidhanam. Each one is prana pratishtha. They are just not vigraha kept like any other Raja Gopuram. This is Raja Sannidhanam. And she even has done, because she asked me, how do you do abhishekam? You put me as prana pratishtha, but how do you do the abhishekam? I don't know how to do the abhishekam. I'll give you the secret. I'll give you Shakti Garbha. Shakti Garbha would be equivalent to the Ark of Covenant for the Jewish tradition. They carry that. That's why Jewish culture so deep, and they get so much out of divine, the covenant they made. You take me as a divine and keep me in your heart, and I will keep you wonderful, the race as a wonderful race. But here she has given us all that. So she has given that item which you cannot see because it's buried underneath her. The Mahamaya is sitting there. Next is Bala Tripura Sundari, Lalita Tripura Sundari. It's buried underneath because it has to be that way. In the Jewish tradition, it's Ark of Covenant. No one knows where it is. It's lost probably forever, but the energy is there. That is Ark of Covenant, and she has given it to her. It is there. Maybe we'll make another one, keep it below her, so you get to see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful ark. And it looks just like the Ark of Covenant in Jewish tradition. So I told the Sabati, make one, we'll keep it outside, so each one of you. The symbolism is, when we do Abhishekam to that, all these deities take the Abhishekam for them. So he said, that way you abide by their need. They need to know that you have affection, you have love, you have reverence, and you have knowledge, you have bhakti. They have to know it. That's the reason we do all these rituals. And among the rituals, Homa would be the most important. We did a wonderful Homa. The water was energized, and we do Abhishekam. So all are very, very meaningful. And one of the aspect of her, she would grant us, is a tank. Temple tanks are very important. And very few places have. Not only have the tank, have that particular deity. Her name is Ambuja. I don't know how many of you would have heard. There are many Ambuja. There must be 1 million Ambujas. That aspect, that is Apa, water. The 5 Panjabhuta, that is very important. As important as Agni. Agni is very important for our own survival. Agni is very important, but water is equally important. She said, I want her to be given a place here as water. So we'll have a beautiful, hopefully she'll grant us that, a tank with her in it. So when you come, you see there is Ambuja. And that aspect you won't get to see. Very few temple here has water, because they don't understand. That's a very important aspect. You got to feel her, you got to know her, you got to understand the significance of that deity. And as time goes on, she will teach you all that. And when you come here, you will get to feel that deity. So all this are very mystical, very meaningful, very symbolic, very metaphorical, very meaningful. So our tradition is very complex. That's why, but people believe in it so many thousands of years. It survived in spite of all the onslaught of so many other religions. It survived because of our faith, and because she is in us, and she keeps on reminding us, I am in you as a microcosm, and I am the macrocosm. And you come here to my house, I will build it for you, not only for us, for the world. Not only to give the grace, she said, to protect the world, because the world is going to go through some major crisis in the next 100, 200 years, which is a nature. This is Kali Yuga. So you should not be surprised why such a terrible things are happening and will happen. More so, 20th century we had close to 100 million people. 80 million people died. If you include all the deaths during 20th century, including what Stalin did to the own people and what Chinese did to the own people, almost 100 million, 80 million in 1 century. This will be more. Next time the war comes, which is inevitable, just like the Yellowstone thing is waiting to erupt, it will erupt. Just a matter of time. Would it be in the next 20 years or next 100 years? It will, because it's already exceeded 760,000 years, it blows up. When it blows up, the world is gone. The nuclear fallout from that Yellowstone Park, which all of you go there, look at it so nicely, so innocently, enjoying, that is a volcano. The whole area is a volcanic bed. If that explodes, which is overdue, it should explode 100,000 years ago. Every 760 years, 760,000 years, not 760 years, it will explode. This has gone beyond it by 100,000 years. So it's just a matter of time. Even that meteors, 10,000 meteors coming around us, 10,000 of them. And we have a gravitation. Earth has gravitation. How it doesn't hit us? And most of them we don't even know. They're very close and they don't even know how many. They have identified maybe 1,000 or 2,000 of them. And there's nothing we can do. Once it comes towards us, we are done. And last time it happened was 65 million years ago, when the dinosaurs, whole thing perished. Then the life started again, and then we came. 64 million years ago it happened. It took that long for us to evolve to this. But she wanted it, she chose us. Because she wanted that mind to develop this way, not just a huge monstrosities like the dinosaurs, 80, 90. And they were big because they had more oxygen. Now we would never become that big. The oxygen is limited now, 16, 18%. That time they probably had more oxygen, so they kept on growing hugely. But that consciousness is needed at that time. She chose them. then she chose us. Because we are smaller, but our brain proportionately is very big compared to our body size. As the brain grows up, our consciousness develops, then she gives us the wisdom. Ganesha comes, wakes up the Kundalini and raises our knowledge about reality, that we are divine and we have the potential. The potential has to be realized. All the Mahavakyas you read in the Veda, they all say the same thing. Tat Sat, Soham. All of them mean, you are Brahman. Are we? Obviously we are not. We have not evolved enough. But we have the potential. The word Tat Sat, Soham, all mean the same thing. They are called Mahavakyas. They all mean we are divine, but we have to manifest the divine. And there are many, many ways, huge. Many, many rishis have taught us, many siddhas have taught us, and this temple is blessed by many siddhas in India. When I go to Himalayas, I was there just a month ago. There's one Maharishi, you wouldn't have heard about that Maharishi. His name is Dadishi. Dadishi, have you heard of Dadishi? Not much. You heard of Viswamitra because he sacrificed, he got Gayatri. But Dadishi was a very wonderful, so she said, you go there, I'll show you where he meditated. Go and meditate and bring his energy down here. Why is he important for us? Because he's the embodiment of sacrifice like Viswamitra was. What did he do? He gave, thank you, he gave his life. When Asuras always defeat Devas, because they're more intense beings. They're all emotional beings. Emotions are more intense, and Devas always lose. They cannot beat them. So they went to Mahavishnu and said, what can we do? He said, go get the Vajrayudha. With the Vajrayudha, at least you can beat them periodically, keep them under control. How do we get Vajrayudha? You go and find the highest evolved Maharshi. His name is Dadishi. He will sacrifice himself and give you what you need to make Vajrayudha. What did he need? I'm talking about Indra. He needed the vertebral column, his wisdom, spinal cord, with which he made the Vajrayudha. So periodically when the war happens, it happens all the time in us. The battle is going on every minute between Asuras and Devas. We are the medium. We have the Asuras. Anger, ignorance. The first thing Vinayaka teaches us is to remove the ignorance. That is an Asura. Fundamental Asura is ignorance of what we are and many other things. Then anger, the horror, the jealousy, all these Asuric energies are Asuras. Don't we have it? We have it, different degree. And we are supposed to control them. Kartikeya helps us because he symbolically has slayed them. Not only slayed them, he made them his vehicles. That's what he wants us to do. Control those emotions and make them your vehicles. Like I did to Surapadman, Tarakasuram, Simhasuran, all those asuras. I vanquished them and they became my vehicles. So you vanquish your asuras and they will become your vehicle. What a beautiful concept. But we have to be aware of it. We have to constantly fight them. It's never-ending battle and it's going on in us. All this information Ganesha will teach you. He will teach you how to control them. And each one of us have a different level of asuras. But we have them all. And we have devas too. So you have to accentuate the Devi qualities, which are love, compassion, kindness, generosity. All those are Devic energies. We have to accentuate them. We have to minimize the Asuric element. Very simple concept, but it's a true concept, and we live that. And the world, all the organism, we are one family. Obviously, we are one family because we came from her. If you come from one source, you're all same. But it took so long. 7 billion humans we have, trillion life forms we have, other life forms. All came from her. So with that, you become nicer person because you realize that the whole life forms from her. So they are our family. So when you realize it, you become kinder, generous, compassionate. Karma will go on. You will do some bad things. That is your karma. Your past will be repeated and you control it. But it happens and then you pay for it. That's why the life goes after one after another. Ultimately, with the wisdom Ganesha will give us, with the kindness, ultimately it goes back to bhakti. the receptivity of that energy. That's what Mother says. I will build it for you, the most wonderful temple. But you come and you take me. You consume me. So I manifest in you. Don't keep me just for yourself. Share it with the whole world. So whatever you hear today, go share it with everyone, because that belongs to them. This mantra, tantra and yantra given to me was given to me for a purpose, because that's for you. It belongs to you. But you cannot have it because it has to be used properly with her advice. And she makes sure all the Maharishis are here. You see Agastya Bhagavan standing there with Loba Mutra. They're wonderful, wonderful beings. They're very actively present. Vishwamitra there, Vashishta there, Agastya Bhagavan. Loba Mutra is a great Maharishi. There are many women Maharishis, many of them. And they are actively present here. We have to acknowledge them, be aware of them, invoke them, honor them, receive them. They help us to go to higher level of consciousness. So Agastya Bhagavan is very, very, I call him Bhagavan. Bhagavan means divine. And all these Maharishis are divine. The Saptarishis could not have been human because, for instance, Agastya's mother is Urvasi. So it's obviously not a human. She's a divine damsel. So they are, okay. So these Maharishis, they are partly human, partly divine. They came to show us, because we can only relate to human. So they came as human and gave us a wisdom. So in this temple, think of Agastya Maharishi, think of Vishwamitra, think of Vashishtha, think of all the Saptarishi, the Rishi, many of them, so many of them, 10,000 of them. There are 10,000 Maharishis. The energy is here, she has granted them to us. You consume by coming here, attending the functions, go through the ritual. There's a Kratos Maharishi. She wanted me to go and meet him. All these Maharishis are alive. They are in Jiva Samadhi. They never die. They are eternal beings. And they meditated certain areas. She'll give the information. I go there and meditate and bring them here. All are done for us, for you, and to the world. So we have the obligation to take them and consume them and share with the world, so that the terrible things which will happen in Kali Yuga will be controlled. It will happen to a lesser degree and we will survive. And happy Vinayaka Chaturthi. Thank you.